It becomes harder over time to believe in secure attachments when you've been living without one for a long time. So
Right.
it's like your brain is good with the familiar, even if the familiar is hating yourself or being hard on yourself. And so you fall into this cycle of pressure, giving yourself pressure because that's all you've ever known. And it's almost like having a secure attachment would feel weird. That's why a securely attached world should be the norm. I believe in an ideal world, maybe we could all support each other in reaching that secure state.
Yeah.
Whether it's, I don't know, making a therapy for all, that's really idealistic. But maybe if more people had access to therapy, they'd be more likely to be securely attached.
Mhm.
Or normalizing things where people can feel securely attached. This might not work for everyone, so might be bad suggestions, but maybe like, some cultures they do hugs, and that for some people, that if their love language is physical touch, that could create secure attachment.
Mhm.
If their love language is words of affirmation, maybe if a norm was more people saying I love you to their friends. It's something I do. I know it's not everyone's thing. It makes some people very uncomfortable, and I understand that. But it can help create secure attachment because at least someone thinks you're lovable, and someone might really need to hear that one day.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
even looking into someone's eyes might create secure attachment because it creates acknowledgement that you are a person, you are worthy of dignity, inherent dignity and respect. And I will look you in the eye and tell you that you matter through my eyes. Because there's something very primal about that our body responds to.
Right.
There are many ways to create a securely attached world. And I guess
Mhm.
it's to acknowledge the value in someone else, whether it's giving them a compliment they don't normally get. So you're seeing a side of them that's normally undervalued or underappreciated. That creates a securely attached world. Or
Yeah.
even having a great friend like Leon creates a secure attachment.
Or a great friend like Joyce. The thing is, these are really great points that everyone could do something that could help foster this secure attachment. And there's different paths, just like what Joyce says. There's different ways that we might get engaged. And actually, everyone's wired for secure attachment, so people seek it in some sort of way. You find your way of seeking it.
You get a lot of masking in a world that doesn't feel secure being themselves, because you get reinforcement that you have to be someone else. You can kind of have this example. There's a goose and a duckling, and then the goose goes somewhere and the duckling can't find its mother, and it's like, where's mom, and you can see this duckling like running around trying to find mom. And this can kind of be like our inner child trying to find a secure attachment, but kind of looking around and not being able to. And so that can cause us to mask ourselves because we feel like to get into a secure place we have to be someone we're not, and
Yeah.
we adapt. And that adaptation over time, it chips away at you because then you get used to not being yourself, and then after a while you don't even know who that is anymore.
Right.
So people go to therapy to finally like unlearn the masking, unlearn the things that they've used as a coping strategy. That I believe a lot of things come down to not having a secure attachment. So even if I had a friend who was was called lazy by a lot of people, and they were avoidant of the problems in their life. They would distract themselves with consuming TV or other materials. And after a while of talking about it, we realized that his problems came down to not feeling good enough. And where not feeling good enough comes from is not having a secure attachment, because you didn't feel like you were enough as you are. And so you seek it externally, or you don't even try things because you already think you're going to fail. That's already proof that you don't feel like you have a secure attachment. Because if you do have a secure attachment, what you would think to yourself is, no matter what happens, I'll be okay. So it wouldn't be so avoidant. A secure attachment is more with just the people around you too. It's also with yourself. So feeling like no matter what, you're going to be okay. That's why with some people who have been through near-death experiences, I notice they sometimes gain this trust in themselves. Like they've been through the worst. So now they know they can make it through anything. It's like, nothing is as bad as that. And so they have an innate sense of confidence because they believe no matter what, I'm going to be okay. And so that's a form of secure attachment too. It's with your own abilities, a secure attachment with your skills. There's also another form of secure attachment, which is with a higher good. So whether it is the universe or some sort of religious figure or some sort of belief in something bigger, that's also a secure attachment too, because it's believing that you're secure within a meaningful framework, like everything you do contributes to some sort of greater aim.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's security, and I don't know, your sense of meaning or your sense of self. And there's also security in finances, like a secure attachment with your finances and feeling like you'll be okay no matter what amount of money you'll have. There's a secure attachment you can have with vulnerable talk. It's almost like no matter what vulnerable talk you'll be going through, you'll still be okay no matter how deep it goes into your psyche.
Yeah, I appreciate you mentioning these different ways to get engaged, because maybe there's some area of people's lives where they have trouble feeling secure. The thing is, you could always start growing from an area where it's a bit more established, right? You might have a faith you go to, or you might have someone you could go to talk about things. And you could start to grow it from there. And then you start to get into the other areas of your life.
Absolutely. Yeah. It gets easier the more and more you do it. And you heal yourself every time you feel secure in an area of your life, because there's less of looking outside yourself or trying, like, there's a desperation that comes from not feeling secure, because you'll always be desperate to feel a sense of security because it's a human need.
Right.
And so when you finally get a sense of security, you get a sense of peace. I equate security to peace, some sort of inner peace. Like you'll see Jeff Bezos sitting on a pile of money that he doesn't need that much. But someone like that, I believe, has an insecure attachment because there's a hole that can never be filled. And so there's this pile of money that just keeps growing.
Right.
A need to feel secure. So your people are more self-preservationally, like they're more self-preservation-y when they are in a survival mindset. Because they're like, every man for himself, survival of the fittest. But when you start to feel more secure, you start to have less holes that are bottomless pits, that you feel pretty satisfied in, that you're not chasing something all the time.
Right.
You're more okay with giving to other people because you feel like you'll have enough. It's what makes life worth living. To have bonds that enrich you, to have a sense of core confidence that doesn't shift with your environment, but you carry it with you wherever you go, is a sense of peace that people can't buy. So no amount of billionaire or trillionaire can buy a sense of peace. So in a way, you're richer than any billionaire could be if you have a sense of peace that you're able to get out of the survival mindset when you feel securely attached. And that's when you start living instead of just surviving. You start thriving instead of just making it through the motions. And life appears more color-filled than in gray. And so finding secure attachment is when you finally get to relax into who you are. A lot of life is about unlearning. And so when we're able to unlearn the things that make us feel insecure, that kind of put us into a survival instinct, we're able to return to a sense of wholeness. And through a sense of wholeness, we can kind of soften our hardened hearts. You know, when you're in a survival mindset, your heart is actually very hard because you have to make it through life. You have to have tough skin. But when you are in a secure state, your heart begins to soften again. And that's when you get to really enjoy life. You feel it. You are yourself again. And that is a type of peace that is the richest form of anything. You know, no pirate can steal booty from a ship like wait, so no pirate can steal any amount of gold from a treasure chest that is worth the price of inner peace,
Yeah.
because that's what everyone is looking for in some way. Like when someone is trying to become the richest person in the world, what they're really looking for is a sense of inner peace. It's like, when I become this rich, I will then be able to feel inner peace, is
Yeah.
probably what's going on in some form in their narrative.
Yeah. And I like how you view it with this sense of non-judgment. And we could do it that way. When we view it from that sense of non-judgment, people are more willing to explore within what is it that is making them feel empty. If we treat them with that sense of security, then able to access that sense of security within themselves, and they wouldn't be finding these desperate means that antagonize other people or put other people at risk.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well said, Leon. The best way to become a good person is to actually find a way to feel secure, because then you won't be sabotaging other people, because you won't be in a dog eat dog mentality. And you sometimes you don't even know when you're in that mentality until you really see yourself.
Yeah.
So when you're in a survival mindset, you're zoomed in, but when you're able to be secure and at a sense of peace, you're zoomed out and you're able to look at the big picture of your life more often. And that allows you to make decisions that are better for the greater good of yourself, for other people, for everyone. And so it's love, when you're able to cultivate a sense of secure love within yourself and in your relationships, you can then pass on that love. And then the world is more filled with the love it needs to be very supportive and loving of each other, so that we can meet each other's needs.
So, Joyce, it's a great pleasure to have you on my show as always. And this has been a very meaningful talk. I really enjoyed this. And I'm really happy we had this as a spontaneous conversation, because there's so much meaningful stuff that came to light because of this.
Absolutely. I'm so glad to have a friend like you